following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Drivers, start your engines. Pull those belts down tight one more time, warm up those tires, hit your marks, and let's go racing, boys and girls. Nascar, Indycar, Formula One, Formula E, and NHRA Racing Talk. This is the Championship Racing Network. Now here's your hosts, Steve West and Matt Nicholson, with producer John Myers.
Well, the gang is all here. Matt and myself in studio. Producer John is on CRN Live on YouTube. And with the trio intact this Saturday morning, plenty to get to. Big change at the top of NASCAR. We talked about it during the Cross Flags podcast. We'll give you a little bit more here. F1 fans in the Southeast get a new entertainment option that has Matt just ready and raring to go. And I got to admit, I can't wait for it either. All Formula E teams have their reserve drivers this season. That sounds like a weird thing for us to put in the headlines, but it is actually interesting to note considering their season already started. Indycar continues to prep for their new season. We'll tell you a little bit about the tire test that happened out in Phoenix and what exactly does the NHRA have planned for all these tracks that they've been going out and buying. And that's just a few of the stories that we're going to dive into when we get into CRN next.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network. tires and 2 cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
And welcome back in. I'm Steve West. That's Matt Nicholson sitting over there on the other side there, pulling his microphone around.
Yep.
Producer John on CRN Live on YouTube. Feel free, say hi to him there. I'm sure he'll chime in as soon as he can. So we were sitting here talking football in the background. So we have a national championship set in college football. The U taking on IU. Indiana? I mean, think about this for just a moment. I know we're not a college football program, but I can't get over this because Indiana, as of like 2 years ago, was one of the worst college football programs on planet Earth. And now they're playing for a national championship.
You know, people on social media last night was trying to compare, is 2025 Indiana the 2019 LSU?
No.
That's an unfair comparison. But there's an awful lot of characteristics that look a lot like it.
Here's the thing. 2025 Indiana is 2025 Indiana.
They're not 2019 LSU.
Yeah.
They're not 2020 or 21 Alabama when they had their great seasons.
No.
They're not 2010 Auburn.
They
They're
are
not
what they are.
They're not the Notre Dame of yesteryear.
No.
The Indiana is Indiana. And I'm going to bet the farm and bet the house and bet every value of land that I can put my hands on the Fighting Signettis.
Yeah, I am too. I'm rooting for them.
Kurt Signetti has me sold.
Yeah. Truth be told, I'm thrilled for them.
Google him.
What they've done through the playoffs so far, and I get it. They torched the team that I root for, Alabama. They torched last night, Oregon. They scorched them both. They are playing absolute perfect football right now. I wouldn't want to be anybody having to face them. I don't care what the name is on the helmet.
I was intriguingly surprised. I know that may be a lot of words at 8 o'clock this morning, but
it's very deep, yeah.
Intriguingly surprised at how strong Indiana traveled last night.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Mercedes-Benz was probably 60,000 Indiana fans there.
And here's the funny part. I mean, you and I went over there a couple of years ago. And for those of you that are on CRN Live on YouTube, you notice the shirt that I'm wearing. And I'm going to rep these colors as long as these guys go. Because that's just me. I do that. But we went a couple of years ago for a Thursday night NFL game. Thursday night between Atlanta and the New England Patriots. And we started looking around. And number one, for an NFL game, that stadium was surprisingly empty.
For Thursday night, yeah, I was surprised.
And number two, the number of New England Patriots fans outnumbered the Atlanta Falcons fans at least 3-1, maybe more.
Yeah, that's a fair number. Very fair number.
But Indiana, for not having a tradition of doing what they're doing right now, man, they've got this fan base jacked up and ready to go. And they are willing to travel.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't help Oregon's matters none last night because they've had to now make 2 East Coast travels. Orange Bowl last week and Peach Bowl last night.
Yep.
Probably didn't help their matters none.
And now they got to go back down to Miami because that's where they're going to be playing the U for the national championship is in Miami.
Indiana, yeah.
So knock it out. Go get it. Hoosiers, rooting for you.
Well, it's funny that Miami's basically got a de facto home game for the title, but you know.
and they're going to be underdogs. On
Underdogs, and they've got to split the stadium 50-50.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true. All right, let's get into what we're here for, shall we? This is a racing program. It's the Championship Racing Network, after all. And guess this. We actually have racing this weekend, if you can find it. Formula E gets the first race of 2026 amongst the series that we regularly cover in. Their second race of the season. They head to Mexico City. It's the Hankook Mexico City E-Prix. The race will be run on the one version of the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez that is actually kind of an equivalent to the Charlotte Roval. It's very, very oval. It's a 16 turns, 1.633 mile long course. The race will begin at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Central Time. It'll air at some point in time on CBS Sports. If you have it, your best bet, honestly, go to the Roku channel and find CBS Sports there because that's where you're probably going to have your best chance of finding it because if you're looking for it on your regular TV or cable, I've given up on looking. Then there's also this. And we don't generally cover this kind of racing a whole lot, but when it comes to the Chili Bowl Nationals, we will talk about it. Tulsa, Oklahoma, hosting them. The final day of it is today. Hot laps will take place this morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central Time. Opening ceremonies for the main event begin at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Racing to follow. All the action will be on Flow Racing. And as of Tuesday of this week, which was the second day of on-track activity on the Chili Bowl, the known names that were in the 385 driver field included NASCAR drivers like Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Jesse Love, Ty Gibbs, Sheldon Creed, J.J. Yaley, Josh Bilicki. Included ARCA drivers Gavin Boschelli?
Yeah.
Brayton Laster, Ryan Roulette, and Wayland Modified Tour competitor Jake Johnson, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Today is the Tulsa Shootout. The Chili Bowl starts Monday and runs all the way through. Tulsa Shootout.
Am I early?
Tulsa Shootout is the preliminary race to the Chili Bowl.
Okay, I'm early. I must have looked at the dates wrong. My bad.
Yeah, they start.
I apologize.
The schedule. Yeah, the overall schedule has everything starting Monday.
Okay.
For Chili Bowl.
All right, so that's my bad. I've got you a week ahead of time, but now you know, so you'll be prepared. All right. If you are a regular person who catches pretty much everything that we put out there, and thank you for doing that, you can simply go on to YouTube, do the search engine CRN Live, hit subscribe, and we thank you for doing that. And you get notifications anytime we drop something like, say, the Crossed Flags podcast, where we talked about this at length. So we're not going to really dig into this a whole lot. What we're going to do is give you a quick overview. And for those of you who are listening on the radio side and who haven't heard the podcast yet, here we go, which, by the way, you can also catch on Spotify. Thank you to producer John. First ever NASCAR commissioner, lasted only in that position for 10 months. Tuesday of this week, Steve Phelps turned in his resignation, said he will take effect on January the 31st. Phelps got the title of commissioner after reports that the PGA Tour had been trying to lure him away from NASCAR last year, something that came out during the trial. The trial. I don't think I have to try and explain to you what I'm talking about once I say that. It wasn't the only thing that came out during the course of the trial, and it is believed, although Phelps is not confirming it and probably never will, that it was due to the trial's revelations that Phelps decided to step down. NASCAR's statement included glowing statements from the France family, specifically Jim and Lisa France Kennedy, and a statement from Phelps thanking them for his time in the series, which is what you would expect from NASCAR to do that, and then NASCAR higher-ups to say flowery things about it, right? He didn't get fired. He resigned. So there you go. But the thing about it is, he'll get his chance here in a moment. Thing about this is probably the nail in the coffin. Probably, likely. Those text exchanges that came out as we were leading up to the trial, where Phelps talked about Richard Childress as, quote, a stupid redneck that, quote, needs to be taken out back and flogged. Folks, that hasn't played well in the fan base. And it shouldn't. Because here's the thing. All of this led Childress to mention that he was considering his own legal action, although nothing's come from that to this date. On top of that, you get a letter from the noted NASCAR partner and sponsor Johnny Morris of Bass Pro Shops, which is thought to have been a major factor as well. Maybe two final nails if you want to.
That didn't nail it. That wielded it.
Yeah, that's true. The letter from Morris, made quite public, noted that he was an ardent supporter of not only NASCAR, but also of Childress, and then the letter effectively stated that Phelps likely needed to be replaced or at least removed. So again, likely those were factors. Phelps did attempt shortly after the trial to try to smooth things out, said he had apologized to Childress, and said that his words were poorly chosen, made out of frustration. That's an understatement. Morris was not satisfied. He reportedly said after the fact, quote, we can't help but wonder what would happen if Major League Baseball brought in a new commissioner and he or she trash-talked one of the true legends who built the game, like Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Ted Williams, Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth. Morris continued on, quote, such blatant disrespect would probably not sit well with the fans. Such a commissioner most likely wouldn't or shouldn't keep his or her job for very long.
Correctamundo.
All of these things have to be factors. And the one final factor, and again, we're not going to belabor this point because we did on Cross Flags and to a big extent. But here's the thing. Steve Phelps is really, or was now, the face. Because if you go to races on a regular basis, neither Jim nor Lisa France Kennedy are regular attendees at any particular race whatsoever. They show up occasionally, but not very often.
True.
And even when they do, they're not really readily available.
No.
Steve Phelps, on the other hand, and this is where I give him some credit, he just about every week, certainly every week that he was at a track, he would go out on pit road, he would go up and down, and he would shake hands with the drivers, the team owners as he saw them, and he would, on occasion, have a chance to, he would stop and talk to a fan or two and shake their hand. Mm-hmm. Again, he's the face of NASCAR. The Phelps, the Frances, yeah, I get it. They're the owners, but they're not the faces. They're not the people who are out there like Big Bill and Bill Jr. were.
No, they weren't.
Jim and Lisa are more than happy to stay in the castle in Daytona, so to speak. And you know what? That's their prerogative. They can. They're the owners. They get to do that.
Sure, they do.
But if you're going to put this man out there as the face and then have all of this revelation come about, I can guarantee you the fans that see him on the grid will not give him mercy, or would not have given him mercy.
They wouldn't, and they shouldn't. But I said this not all that terribly long ago. The one that is out there doing the talking with fan base and other individuals the most is Ben Kennedy.
Yeah.
And that is shades of Bill Jr.
Agreed. And he probably will take over the mantle as being the face.
And I would say it would be, I'll say this point blank as a thunderstorm rolls outside of this studio.
Nice Garth Brooks half reference there.
Yeah, and at least it's not 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that's true.
There's always needed to be an individual that has competed, that has won races on one of the top 3 national levels, to point the series and the entire sport in the direction that it should go, looking at it from both sides. And there's only one individual that can do that, and that's Ben.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because Ben's competed, Ben's won.
And here's the thing. I haven't gotten to I don't know Ben. I've never met him. I'd like to, because the stuff that I've seen him talk about that's been put in print, the stuff that I've seen of him in interviews that show up on TV or podcasts or whatever, the things that I see and hear from him, I like as a general rule.
Sure.
And this is not a bad situation where we get that next generation that brings in a little bit of fresh blood, because Ben Kennedy is Lisa France Kennedy's kid.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a little bit younger, a little bit fresher take on things than what Jim or Lisa do. And I kind of like some of the things that he's doing. We could certainly sit here and argue that the Chicago Street Course, the LA Mausoleum Coliseum race, or even the street race out at San Diego, even though it's probably only going to be a one-year thing, we could question the sanity of all those and how much money it's costing NASCAR to do it. But at the same time, he does seem willing to go out there and try different stuff and see if it sticks.
He does, but now I'm going to pivot a little bit here. You got to think, and yes, it's only January. The San Diego race is not until June.
June, yeah.
Okay. Now you got to take into consideration of the overall landscape of what's happening globally.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that race happening?
On a military base.
On a military base.
I know where you're going.
So
let's face it, this is a high-profile event.
A very high-profile event,
yeah.
Yes. So, in a hypothetical sense here, and seriously, you don't know what's going to happen from 30 minutes from now.
True. That is true.
Hypothetically, somebody decides to put their finger on the red button. Let's just use that as the phrase here.
Okay.
And for lack of a better term, in the most Y7 version that I could put it, all heck breaks loose.
There you go.
What you gonna do now? Because that becomes technically an active military base.
Yeah. I mean, it's active now, but active in a war situation, which means you're probably not going to be allowed to go on there. So do you have a backup plan, or suddenly we go from 36 points races to 35?
That's the $1 million question right there. Do you just scrap that race?
Yep. It's a good question.
Do you well, can we push it back to December? Depending on how long we're going to be busy, boys and girls. That's I don't think that got thought through like it should have.
Yeah, probably true.
I don't think it got thought through like it should have.
Or, well, and here's the thing. We don't know what happened in the background. We don't know whether or not they said, do we need to have and should we put a backup plan in place? We don't know all that stuff. We can look at it from the outside and go, you better have one.
Yeah, because, and I still don't think it's very, very, if you're trying to make this one of the higher profile events that you've had in the history of the series and the sport, you need to open the gates up for ability for people and fans to come in all 3 days. Mm-hmm. Not just 2, all 3 days.
Yeah.
Because Friday, your truck race is shut off to the military installation inhabitants. Let's call it that.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Their family.
Yeah, no fans allowed. This is all for them. It's a military show only.
Yeah, the military show only for the truck race. I'll say, okay, good deal for the truck race to be able to put on that type of a show in a special setting.
Sure.
Good for them.
Yeah.
But look what you're cutting off and losing here.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah.
Don't think that got thought through.
So, again, we could sit there and talk about it. Again, I look at Ben Kennedy. I think the future probably is some pretty decent hands. Yeah, I mean, we can question decisions all day long. Big Bill France wasn't perfect. Neither was Bill France Jr. No. So, we'll go ahead and put it that way. But Phelps, his tenure done now. He joined NASCAR back in 2005, stated then it was a dream to join the series, having been a fan all of his life. He left the NFL, where he worked alongside Commissioner Roger Goodell before he moved to Daytona. It's kind of a negative in my opinion, but that's my opinion. According to the trial records, Phelps admitted that he was being paid $5 million annually as a commissioner in his role, that he was the face of NASCAR, like I said, appearing at most, if not all, of the races and often seen on the grid, which neither Jim nor Lisa did. The statement states from NASCAR, they don't have any immediate plans to replace him as the commissioner. What they're going to do for now is they're going to take the duties that Steve Phelps had and split it among different people. And the best way that I can put it, one of the best ways that I heard it put this week, was that Steve Phelps was not directly over any one particular aspect of the Cup Series. He was over NASCAR as a general purpose, which means he was over everything that NASCAR covers, which is the old ISC, NASCAR and all of its different divisions, IMSA and its different divisions, and so on and so forth. He had the big picture of everything that makes up what is NASCAR, not just what we see on the track in stock car racing every week. So, do we need a person who's that?
No, you don't.
So, yeah, split up his duties and let's move on, and let's see if we can't actually put this behind us and get back to the business of what we really want to do, which is race.
If they insist on having somebody at that position to do that, if they insist on that, and it's over the whole entire scope of NASCAR, as what they say, have a person to oversee the competition side of NASCAR, the competition side of IMSA.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody like Mark Martin. And I'm throwing names out there. I'm spitballing names here. Somebody like Mark Martin.
I love everybody that's sitting there throwing out the name Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dale Jr.'s quite busy with Junior Motorsports and his Dirty
and
Mo
his
Media.
team stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's got plenty.
I doubt he would take it. Mark Martin would be an interesting choice.
Put Mark Martin there. Put somebody like Carl Edwards there.
Carl would be an interesting choice.
Carl would be interesting. IMSA. There's one name that comes to mind automatically that would probably be an extremely solid fit. Actually, two. Max Pappas or Wayne Taylor.
Wayne Taylor would be a great choice.
Wayne Taylor or Max Pappas. One of those two. And then from the ISC standpoint, overseeing the track side of it, I'm sitting right here.
Well, and you and I can honestly say this because we've seen it from both angles. We've seen it under the ISC banner and we've seen it under the NASCAR banner. Them bringing ISC under the NASCAR banner and under full control, that was a mistake.
A crucial mistake.
Yeah, it should have been left the way that it was.
And a person, God rest his soul, but if he was still alive and living with us, a good person that could do something like that, Grant Lynch.
Oh my gosh, Grant would have been.
Grant would be great.
He would.
Russell would be great at it.
Sure. Yeah, if you could pry him away from Darlington. He's at the track where he's his happiest.
Oh, absolutely.
That's where he grew up. That's where his family
Absolutely.
is. And I guarantee you he is happy as a bug in a rug right now.
Mm-hmm.
But believe me, if we were going to put somebody as the head of ISC, Russell would be, for me, the top name on the list.
Sure.
Listening, Russell? I'm not just trying to butter you up, man. I'm sorry, but I'm not. I'm just being real honest. All right. From there, let's get to some other stuff here. NASCAR's got a driver advisory council that started up not too long ago. Its personnel has changed. We'll talk about that. NASCAR also trying to attract some younger female viewers as well. We'll tell you one of the ways that they're going to try and do that when we come back.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network. tires only, and back out to the track for more action on the Championship Racing Network.
All right, some other stuff to get into here. NASCAR's Driver Advisory Council. How much NASCAR actually listens to it, I don't know, but we'll see. It's undergone a change. The main change is actually the addition of somebody that Matt and I are familiar with. Former NASCAR executive, former Daytona International Speedway president Chip Wilde. Ooh. He's their new executive director. Takes over the role previously held by former Cup driver turned NBC NASCAR commentator Jeff Burton. Burton will remain as an advisor to the group. So he's an advisor to the advisory council? Is that a double negative?
Makes sense.
Okay. The current group, which will be led by Wilde, will include drivers William Byron, Chase Briscoe, Joey Logano, and Michael McDowell, along with former drivers Kurt Busch and Kyle Petty, and former Growth Energy CEO Tom Buis, who comes in bringing in an outside perspective, I guess. Okay. Main reason for the group is to address safety concerns within NASCAR, all while acting as a go-between that will allow the voice of the drivers to be heard at the upper levels. Apparently, Chip Wilde's going to be that guy. I don't know. Statement from the Driver Advisory Council read, quote, driving the renewed focus are initiatives intended to ensure open communication between racing's on-track talent and the sanctioning body. These efforts carry added importance amid ongoing legal and regulatory developments, including the recently resurfaced lawsuit involving several charter holders. During these disputes, the council played a crucial role in advocating for cooperation and transparency. I guess we'll find out whether or not transparency and cooperation are going to be hand in hand as we move on. I'm still wondering whether there are raw feelings here.
Yeah, there's probably are quite a few.
I would imagine.
Is his office secretary named Rachel?
I wonder.
Yes, I woke up and chose violence this morning.
I got you. Scorched earth policy.
Not scorched earth. I'm torching everything. Just thought I'd ask her.
Yeah, gotcha. Let's see. NASCAR has worked up a brand new partnership. They have worked up a partnership with apparel maker Justice. This is the leading fashion and lifestyle brand they call themselves for tween girls. Okay. They hope to grab young women, bring them into the NASCAR family. Amongst the things being offered are the new NASCAR X Justice collection, or NASCAR by Justice, or NASCAR times Justice, whatever they want to try and term that as. Include apparel with what the company terms, quote, playful graphics, sporty silhouettes, and nostalgic racing details. Who the hell's your PR guy? The entire collection, at least in first, is going to offer 33 styles. Prices start as low as $7. It'll be available through Walmart stores nationwide or online at walmart.com. In-store presence being expanded right now, along with digital. And as the year progresses and we get into the racing season in full, the full line should come out at that point in time. You can kind of see an example of a jacket there. If you're watching on CRN Live on YouTube, there's a whole lot of other stuff. If you go searching around, go to, I want to say it's walmart.com, and then just do a search for Justice and maybe NASCAR. You'll come across it. $7 though, that's not a bad place to start. If and I'm gonna say this right now, if the quality of the clothing is decent.
I was about to say that right there, Wes, because consider some things that go through the Walmart stores, and they don't last very long.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just but it's out there just to let you know.
Sure.
By the way, we could speculate on this. I'm not sure what it's going to do. But something of a tease from NASCAR came out on Thursday, middle of the day, and let's face it, we've been wondering this for a while. Whether they will, and if they do, how NASCAR might change how they determine the champions in the Cup, O'Reilly Auto Parts, and Craftsman Truck Series. It was put on the back burner, mainly due to the lawsuit, and then, of course, the Phelps backlash and such. So now, at least we know when we're going to know, and that's Monday. And what that is going to do is Monday, it's 2:30 Eastern time, so 1:30 our time. Is that right?
Yes.
They're going to release the format for determining the champions in the top 3 series of NASCAR. Monday, 1:30 Central time, our time. Monday, 2:30 Eastern time. That's going to give Matt and myself Monday evening and Tuesday morning to be able to go over it. And we're going to have a single subject Cross Flags podcast coming up on Tuesday, because we'll talk all about it and break it down and give you the pros and cons.
Well, considering the teasers that Junior's been tweeting out after said announcement was made that it was coming out, looks like we're going back to the old school chase.
Oh, okay.
Looks like it.
Not winning you're in necessarily, just topping points.
Winning you're in is dead.
That's not necessarily the worst thing in the world.
Nope.
All right. We'll see. Like I said, we'll cover it in full. You'll see it
Not
on
at
the
all.
Cross Flags podcast when it comes out Wednesday, probably. All right. Other news here. Legacy Motor Club has pulled Justin Alexander over to become the new crew chief on the 43 car for driver Eric Jones. Talked about this on Cross Flags. Again, available right now. Go onto YouTube, search CRN Live. If you haven't, please do so. And subscribe. We ask you to do that very, very politely, and we thank you in advance. Alexander takes over for Ben Bayshore, 5-time winner as a crew chief. All of those wins coming with Austin Dillon, so he must be good as a crew chief. Legacy wants to see if he can help Jones. You and I talked about this, like I said, on the podcast. You were a little less convinced that this is going to help Jones.
Not sold on it.
All right.
I am not sold on it one bit.
All right. We'll find out. I want to root for that. I mean, this is kind of the Legacy Motor Club. This is the old Richard Petty Motorsports. It's the 43 car. You kind of automatically want to root for them. I'd like to see them do well, and I think Eric Jones is a good kid.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see him do well. But again, they're missing. If you were to look at it like a bullseye, they're certainly nowhere near the center ring, but they're at least on the target, and you'd just like them to be able to zero in.
And I think they were on the way to zeroing in with Ben Bayshore.
So this is a change that you think was made in haste?
Well, it's hard to say.
I got you.
Hard to say.
Time will tell. Then there's Carson Hocevar, who, despite ruffling some feathers, claimed the 2024 Cup Series Rookie of the Year, and he and his team seemed quite happy together, to the point where they have sold Ziegler Automotive Group on being a primary sponsor for the young driver on the 77 for an expanded 11 races this upcoming season. Aaron Ziegler, CEO and president of the Auto Dealer Group, said this, quote, sponsoring Carson Hocevar for the 2026 season is more than putting our name on the number 77. It's about supporting someone who represents the future of the sport and the way we do business.
Okay.
All right. Carson brings intensity, authenticity, and a relentless drive to improve every time he takes the track. Are you seeing that?
In a way, yeah.
I mean, I'm seeing a lot of talent. Don't get me wrong. I see a lot of talent in Carson Hocevar. The kid can wheel a race car.
He can.
But he's still a bit of a bull in a china shop.
But he's slowly improving.
Okay. All right. This mindset, Aaron Ziegler continued, will take him far, and we can't wait to see what he does next as he continues to push what's possible. First race that they're going to be on the car will be the Clash at Bowman Gray. It'll be followed by races at Michigan, Pocono, Chicagoland, Atlanta, Indy, Iowa, Richmond, Bristol, Kansas, and Martinsville. It is interesting to note that Ziegler does have 88 franchises across 41 locations, but they're all located in Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan. That's a lot of races for him to be on the hood when he ain't got dealerships anywhere near some of those tracks.
That's true.
But, hey, knock yourself out, man. I mean, the way that things go now when it comes to buying cars, you go online, you buy one, you get it shipped to you.
Expansion.
Yeah. So, and that's very possible, too. So we'll see what happens. Lawsuits behind them, 2311 holding permanent charters now, and Chumba Casino has signed an extension to their deal to partner with 2311 Racing. Expect their look to appear on both the 23 of Bubba Wallace and the 45 of Tyler Reddick. Mostly Reddick, I'll let you know that. The number of races for Bubba Wallace wasn't revealed, listed only as, quote, select number of races, unquote. The extension shows the number of times as primary on the 45 will be expanded out, but not detailed, 2311 said in a statement. They were on that car, which you can see right now on CRN Live on YouTube. They had that look for a handful of races in last year. So maybe as many as 10 or maybe more.
Probably going to be 10 or more.
Okay. I mean, considering how much I hear them on things like Sirius XM satellite radio and how much they're really starting to jump in there, these guys really seem very committed to partnering up with NASCAR.
They do. But when you look at that image of that car, if that's the 2026 rendering.
I know it's the 2025. I don't know whether it's going to change or not for 2026.
But if it was the 2026, I don't know if it is or not. There is an awfully large logo, not on the car, looming. Monster Energy's not on that car.
Guess we'll see. Time will tell on that one. Oh, man, 7-time Jimmy Johnson. We talked about him a few weeks ago when we told you he has plans to race in 2 events this coming season that are confirmed in the Cup Series. The first is the Daytona 500, and he's guaranteed now to start in that because the field is going to have 41 starters. Legacy Motor Club applied for and was granted the open exemption provisional for that car for that race. So he is guaranteed to take the green flag. Now, we talked about this toward the end of the 2025 season. NASCAR changed some of the parameters of that OEP, which included altering it to make it official, not pending whether or not the driver applying made the field in qualifying. Something that didn't change using the OEP means there's going to be no prize money, even if the driver wins the race, which means that if Jimmy Johnson wins the race and Matt were to finish second, Jimmy would get the trophy and all of the accolades from it, but Matt would get the first place check, even though he finished in second. It's still kind of weird. So Jimmy's paying out of his own and sponsor Carvana's pocket because Carvana's going to sponsor the 84 car in both that and the San Diego race that they've confirmed that they're going to join later on in the year too. But again,
this could be arguably one of the stupidest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, I know. Go back to the first aspect of the OEP here. And it said when Elio Castroneves got in that if Elio Castroneves worked his way in through the qualifying, whether it was qualifying day and put the car on the pole or whether he raced his way in during the qualifying races, the duels.
He raced his way in, what I remember.
But what they were saying was that it was dependent upon that. He was going to get into the race, but if he qualified, if he raced his way into the race, then the OEP goes away and it's 40 cars.
Back to 40, yeah.
But if he has to, he can fall back on the OEP. In this case, it doesn't matter what Jimmy Johnson does on qualifying day or in the duels. We are going to have a 41 car field for the Daytona 500 because he is using regardless the OEP.
This is still this is still the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Because if out of the cars that are open cars that are entered into this race so far, the one that I would be the least worried about qualifying or racing their way in is
the 84 car. Yeah, I agree.
So why are you burning it? 1, 2, the open exemption provisional, last I checked, was for world-class drivers that have not competed in a stock car race before.
I thought that was the original idea, yeah.
That's the original idea, okay.
But apparently because nobody else applied for it, they said, okay, yeah, we'll give it to Jimmy Johnson.
See why Elio used it in Daytona.
Sure.
See why that's basically the Project 91 provisional, if you ask me. So Justin Marks wanted to go.
That's a good way to put it.
I said, just, hey, Max, you want to come run a road course race? Sure, I'll come run it. There you go. Max Verstappen's in at COTA. And then COTA's got 500,000 people there because they want to see Max Verstappen run a stock car.
Exactly.
You know that would happen.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So, I mean,
there'd be a boatload of F1 fans who would suddenly go, oh, Max is running? I'll check it out.
So you've got, huh?
Yeah. Now we're just giving it to former Cup champions.
So basically, we're going back to, the Champions Provisional is back into effect.
Apparently. Hey, DW, want to race again? Front Row Motorsports announced a new crew chief for Noah Gragson in the 4-car for the upcoming season. They have put Grant Hutchins in that role. He's replacing Drew Blickensderfer. Blick has been moved into a role of Front Row's competition director. He'll work alongside the technical director, Seth Barber. In hearing Drew Blickensderfer talk about this, he wanted to be at Front Row long term. And he got to talking with Bob Jenkins and some of the top brass at Front Row Motorsports and said, I'm considering my future and what it might be. And they said, well, you know what? We want you here long term, so let's go ahead and do this. So I'm happy for Drew, don't get me wrong, but I'm wondering if this move was made in haste.
It's hard to say. I mean, it's real hard to say.
I mean, this is technically his first full-time crew chief role. He's got a resume that includes the lead race engineer at Wood Brothers in 2024. He was with Team Penske last year and previously before that as well. also with Richard Childress Racing, all in various roles. He does have 9 races under his belt as an interim or fill-in crew chief because of suspensions or whatever. His best finish came in 2022 as he was calling the shots for driver Austin Cindric at the Indy Road Course, where they finished in 2nd place. By the way, Ryan Briganti remains with the 38 car, Chris Lawson with the 34, so no changes there. This is all for the 4 car. I think we expected more out of the 4 car and Noah Gragson last year because we had seen what they were able to do in the last year of Stuart Haas, and we were expecting that to go over and probably be solidified under front row. Could it possibly have been the whole situation with the charter that was kind of upsetting everything? I mean, I wouldn't think that should be a problem. You get out on the track and you're just run. So there was still something not quite right. I mean, we're talking about that with Carson Hocevar. They're on the target board, but they're nowhere near the center of the bullseye. You know, they're not really near the bullseye.
Yeah,
or the center ring.
This is the growing year for them. I think it was more of being the new team, the third team at front row. They were getting their feet on the ground with the front row systems. So now this is the year of growth for them.
And now you take away the voice that was very, very familiar to Noah Gragson and you replace it with Grant Hutchins.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. I mean, I wish him the best of luck. Don't get me wrong. I like the kid. I think he's a good kid, and I want to see him do well. But I don't know. I kind of question it. I really do. That K in RFK Racing, Brad Keselowski, he's got problems, and it's going to cause him to miss at least 1 race. We'll tell you all the details of the problems and which race he's going to miss. That's next.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network. Go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back in. Steve West, Matt Nicholson, producer John on CRN Live on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining us here on what, for us anyway, is a very, very wet, rainy Saturday morning. Good night. Hopefully we won't have to worry, though, about the things that happened to, say, Brad Keselowski, the K in RFK Racing. He has said he is going to miss the clash at Bowman Gray due to that broken leg that he suffered when he was on a ski trip the week before Christmas, specifically December 18th. Said he's aiming to be back in the 6th car for the season opening race of the Daytona 500. So with his concentration on that, he's decided to pull himself out and pull in what he terms, this is the first time I've ever heard this used in NASCAR terms, pull in RFK reserve driver Corey LaJoie to get in the 6th car to run at Bowman Gray Stadium for the clash. I've never heard reserve driver in NASCAR used.
I have.
Have you? Mm-hmm. Okay. I've never heard that.
Corey Heim is the de facto, well, last year, depending on what he does this year, the de facto reserve driver for Legacy in 2311.
Yeah, de facto. I never heard him actually term him as such.
Well, I call him the de facto, but he was termed as a reserve driver, and like Ryan Preece was for Stuart Haas.
Huh, okay. LaJoie has been tabbed to be on standby for Keselowski for the first couple of races of the season, actually, just in case Keselowski feels that he cannot finish any particular race. His femur continues to heal from the break and the resultant surgery. And Keselowski said about it, quote, "I didn't want to rush back. The team and I made the decision together that if all rehab went perfect, we'd be ready literally the day of the clash." That seems super foolish, and I didn't want to give us any time to do, and it didn't give us any time to do any testing on myself. The initial term, by the way, I heard on this was that it was a skiing accident, which leads us to believe that he had boards on his feet and was going down a hill.
Likely.
No. The Godfather actually let it out that how he broke his leg was he was stepping out of a car and firmly planted his right leg on a patch of ice and slipped out and broke his leg that way as they were at the ski resort.
Accidents happen.
So to call it a skiing accident is actually polite.
Well, considering where he was, yeah, that's very polite.
Yeah, it is.
Very.
Don't get us wrong, Brad. We wish you the fastest recovery and good luck to you. We hope everything goes well. I could have
put somebody better in the car, maybe, possibly.
If he's your reserve driver, then he's your reserve driver. There you go. Speaking of RFK Racing, this is the place where the late Greg Biffle claimed all 19 of his Cup Series race wins, and they are celebrating him. If you go to their race shop in Statesville, North Carolina, you walk into the lobby, they got a big display honoring the late Greg Biffle. The display features the car that he claimed his final Cup Series win in. It was at Michigan in 2013. That was also, by the way, win number 1,000 on the Cup Series level for Ford. Alongside the car is I guess in NASCAR as a whole, not necessarily just the Cup Series. I take that back.
Yeah.
Alongside the car is the trophy for winning that race, a commemorative coin, a race-winning die-cast of that car. There's also the trophy for his win in 2012 at Texas Motor Speedway, his National Guard fire suit, the champagne bottle from his 2008 Southern 500 win, and a lot of other memorabilia from his career. The team has not said how long the display will be in the lobby for fans to see. I do hope, seriously, for quite a while. Quite a while.
Should be permanent.
Yeah. That's actually probably a better way to put it. And then there's Biffle's Celebration of Life, set to take place January the 16th at Bojangles Arena in Charlotte, North Carolina. If you want to see it, but you can't travel to Charlotte to the open to the public event, you can watch it if you choose to. It'll be on NASCAR's YouTube channel or on their free streaming channel, which is available through several avenues, including Roku and Amazon Prime. I'm not going to be able to watch it because I've got something else going on Friday night, but at the same point in time, I think it would be really cool to see some of the people and how they honor him.
It will. No doubt it will, and see who all is there to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And truth be told, if we could, we'd be there. Because that would be a fantastic thing to cover.
Wouldn't already go in the week after.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see. One bit of news out of the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, and really the only bit that came out of there is that SS Greenlight Racing has their road course ringer locked in for 2026. Alex LeBay is back. It's been signed by the team to run now the Zero Chevrolet this coming season at all road course events. The Zero takes place with the number 14 on the side of the car, or gets the credit for the points of the 14 car. LeBay last year claimed 3 top 15 finishes in his road course duties, including at Coda, where Labby made more green flag passes than any other driver during the course of the race. I like Alex LeBay. I have no problem with SS Greenlight Racing pulling him in and doing this. But at some point in time, don't we need to figure out whether or not we're going to go full bore with one driver in that car?
You would think eventually, but some people just don't get it. They just don't.
I mean, the 07 car seems at least somewhat settled, but the 0 car is still playing star car. I mean, it goes back to what we were talking about the first couple of years of Spire. Yes, we got this charter, we got this car, but we really don't have a driver. We're just going to throw a driver here in, driver there in, and so on and so forth.
Basically, all that boils down to is whoever brings the biggest check for that race.
Yeah, I guess.
Which is sad.
Yeah, I think that might be a better way to put it.
But this genius business model that some people in the main offices have created that you have to be able to sustain, that's what we got to deal with now.
Yeah.
Nobody's earning a ride based on merit and talent anymore.
No, unfortunately. Calic Racing and Ram, couple of big announcements made over this week. We'll talk about it as we get into hour number 2. Plus, that expanded number of races that Cup Series drivers can moonlight in, well, it's paying off, so to speak.
Don't touch that dial. The Championship Racing Network will be right back. Four tires and 2 cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
As hour number 2 gets underway here at CRN, we thank you very much for joining us. Hope you were able to catch the first hour. If not, set your alarms for next week. We start at 8 a.m. Central Time, 9 a.m. Eastern. All right. Ever since Ram decided we're coming back in and they announced it at Atlanta last year, they have been going full bore to make sure that when 2026 debuts, they are on the track ready to go. Callaghan Ram aren't going to be on the hook, by the way, for the entirety of the 2026 season. The brand returns to NASCAR because Tuesday they announced that Cummins Incorporated, a well-known name to Ram truck owners, is the diesel engine brand that's under the hood of their trucks, if you get a diesel, has signed on to be a sponsor of the number 12 truck. Pretty good-looking truck, too. That's the one driven by Brendan Butterbean Queen for the entire. Here's the thing. Cummins is going to have that look all of the races in 2026.
I have a major, I'm going to classify it in military terms. I'm not going DEFCON 1. I'm going DEFCON 2 problem with this scheme.
Okay.
Number placement.
Yeah, I was looking right at that. If there's one thing that I don't like about it, it's the fact that we're starting to see that number move forward on that door panel, so to speak, kind of like they're doing in the Cup Series.
You don't have to have that huge Ram logo on the side of the truck.
Yeah, it's sitting very prominently on the grill.
Slide it down in front of the wheel well, smaller, and it looks just as good.
Mm-hmm. But either way, I mean, for the most part, that's a pretty good-looking truck. I'll give them credit for it. And congratulations to Cummins for coming in and promising to do the entire season. That's another big thing. Speaking of Callaghan Ram, that promised reality show that Callag Racing and Ram Trucks promised, it will debut on January the 25th. That's a Sunday evening on Fox. Follow-up episodes will air on the Ram Trucks YouTube channel through February the 6th. So they'll debut it on Fox, and then you got to go to YouTube and check out the rest. Okay.
Okay.
It's entitled Race for the Seat. It's billed as 15 drivers, 10 challenges, 1 seat. The winner of the competition series is going to be in one of the 5 trucks when the series opens up at Daytona February the 13th. So that means that all of these drivers have a NASCAR license?
Some. Not all of them, but some. And if one of those in that roster that I seen that was majority, and I say majority, short track racers, there is only one that I know of that is at the ARCA test getting the approval. Only one. So that tells me who's probably going to be in the 14 truck at Daytona. Here is the kicker to that.
Okay.
Here's the kicker. ARCA race is after the truck race.
Okay.
So I don't think, again, this is the phrase of the day, this didn't get thought through very well.
Yeah. I mean, to me, if you're going to do it this way with 15 drivers and not all of them already have a NASCAR license, that tells me that these challenges have to be at such a level that NASCAR is going to say, okay, we approve you for a license. That's the only way that I can see that that's going to work.
But they're breaking protocol of how they approve super speedway races.
Then there's that.
I mean, why did that ever go by the wayside? Why did it ever go by the wayside?
Mike Wallace is asking that.
That's number one. Why did it ever go by the wayside of to go get approved to run a super speedway? Period. You run the ladder. I call it the ladder. You do the ARCA test. You get approved to go. You get approved to run the ARCA race. Okay. You run the ARCA race. That locks your approval in to then run trucks or Xfinity cars at the next said step. Once you complete said step for trucks and Xfinity, then you can run Cup. Basically now, I've got $6.5 million. I want to run the Cup race at Daytona 500.
Stamp.
Here you go. Just go make about 10 laps in the ARCA race and you're approved. Okay? Yes, and it goes back to me to say this here. Garrett Mitchell, better known as Cletus McFarland, he's ran and completed said races. As he said before, before Greg Biffle perished, in which Greg Biffle was his mentor, coaching his coach, mentoring him how to drive these things. Okay. They had a goal of making the 500. Great goal.
Sure.
But here's the thing, though. He's doing the steps like it needs to be done. Like it needs to be done. And he's already said he's running Daytona and Talladega again this year with 3 others.
Come on.
So that's the definition of doing it right versus how the other ones do it.
Yeah.
And I saw video clips of this Ram show they're doing. The vehicles that they're driving in this is going to do them no good in these trucks. None.
That's a problem.
That's a big problem.
Yeah.
None. 1, Legends cars.
Really?
Legends cars. 2, late model stocks.
No, that's not helping. You got to get them in a truck, boys. Get them in a truck.
Get them in something with horsepower equivalent.
Yeah. Get them in a big truck with a big engine. I don't know. We'll see. Nice Motorsports has plans to take full advantage of the new loosened rules regarding moonlighters. They have Ross Chastain coming back. He will drive the now top limit of 8 races in this coming season in the Truck Series, and they're 45. Again, the loosened rules allow Cup drivers to run as many as 8 Truck and 10 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series races this year while running for points in the Cup Series. That's the new rule for 2026 and onward. Chastain set to split the truck with a 19-year-old by the name of Landon Lewis and a third driver to be named later. Ross Chastain and Nice Motorsports, they're very familiar with each other. This is not a surprise that they went to him and said, hey, listen, how many races do you want to run? Hey, if they're going to let me run 8, I'll run 8.
Yep.
Not surprised at all.
Nope, not at all.
This one was, I think it's actually still kind of a little bit of a surprise. Speaking of moonlighters, Jimmy Johnson set to moonlight. Yeah, 7-time Cup champion is going to run 1 race in the Truck Series this year. Can you guess which one it's going to be?
Let me guess. Ed Harris is sending him to North Island.
He'll join Tricon Garage the weekend of the race at the Coronado Naval Base in San Diego. He grew up right outside of San Diego. That's where his hometown of El Cajon, California is. He'll run Tricon's number 1 truck. Carvana, his Cup Series sponsor, is also going to sponsor the truck entry. Johnson has exactly 1 Truck Series start to his credit that I can find. Came back in 2008 when he drove a Randy Moss-owned entry. Remember that truck? Vaguely. After a crash at Bristol, he could only claim a best finish of 34th.
Oops.
I get it. He wants to run. This is the track that is, for all intents and purposes, his hometown.
This is nothing but a seat time move to get to learn the track and learn the layout.
Bingo. At least he's got a half-decent truck under him. We'll see what he can do with it.
Yeah, some folks couldn't do something with it.
Then there's one more. Spire Motorsports is putting their Cup Series veteran Michael McDowell into one of their trucks for the season opener at Daytona. Cup Series driver for Spire is going to moonlight in the number 7 Chevrolet Silverado with sponsorship from Tibbetts Lumber. That's a Florida-based company for the race. McDowell has only 4 Truck Series races to his resume, and the first coming in 2000, the most recent last year, and he has not claimed a top 10.
I don't think it's going to hurt him.
Okay. Then over at Hill Motorsports, owner-driver Timmy Hill says he plans to put the number 56 Toyota Tundra entry onto the track for the majority of the 2026 Truck Series races, but it will not be a full-time entry.
Okay.
I wonder if... how am I going to put this? I'm wondering if Timmy is going to be a full-time driver, and basically this is, I got as many other rides as I could with other teams, and now I'm going to fill in the rest with my own team. I'm just throwing something out there.
He's got an ARCA car he runs ARCA East stuff with as well. So he may be splitting between trucks and ARCA East.
Okay. And he doesn't really necessarily want to commit full-time to either one?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. To some drag racing here, and let's kick off with the NHRA first, shall we? We usually kick off with the IHRA, but we'll get to them, so hang on, Straight Line fans. NHRA's first 5 additions to the top 50 drivers list was revealed on Monday. That top 50 drivers that they had 25 years ago now becomes the top 75 drivers. The 5 added on Monday, you can see right now on CRN Live on YouTube. They are Tony Schumacher, Robert Hight, Andrew Hines, Erica Enders, and Peter Biondo. Now, 4 of these are pretty easy adds. The 5th one will give you the resumes here. Schumacher's easy. 8 Top Fuel titles, 88 race wins on his resume. Yeah, no problem there. Robert Hight, also not a problem. 3-time Funny Car titleist with 65 top-level NHRA wins to his credit. Understand that. Erica Enders, who began drag racing at the age of 8, worked her way up into 6 Pro Stock car titles and 50 event wins in that division alone. Yep, natural. Got it. Andrew Hines should be familiar to fans of the Pro Stock motorcycle division as part of the Vance and Hines situation. Yep, he is the family of Hines. His father got into the business, and since he got into it, Andrew's racked up 6 division titles and the winningest rider in the division at this time with 56 event wins. But Gage Herrera is looking at it and going, yeah, I can grab that. I'll get it. Probably not too long from now. Then there's Peter Biondo. And this is a situation where this is where the NHRA said, yeah, this isn't going to be just all the drivers at the very top levels, Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock motorcycle. We're going to include sportsman division here. Peter Biondo is a prime example of that. Lesser known name probably to most, but hailing from Maspeth, New York, he has become one of the most accomplished sportsman racers in NHRA history. He has 7 titles across multiple divisions and 52 national event wins across all those divisions. This is a guy who could basically get into any drag racer he wanted to from any particular division and go and win.
Yep, he could.
Can't argue any of these 5.
Nope.
Not at all. Next 5 come out on Monday. We'll talk about them next week. Skag Racing, meanwhile, is preparing for the new season by announcing the formation of a second Top Fuel team. Sponsor, Bluebird Turf. Going to feature driver Will Smith. No, not the rapper actor. And crew chief Glenn Huzar. They're going to pair with the existing Top Fuel team of Justin Ashley and crew chief Tommy DeLago. This is, by the way, the 4th Nitro entry for Skag Racing because they also have the 2 Funny Car entries for drivers Daniel Wilkerson and Dave Richards. As for Smith, Smith hails from not too far from here, Northport, Alabama. He's worked his way up through the lower divisions into the Mission Foods Drag Racing Series, does have some Nitro experience in Larry Dixon's dragster, and just last year raced 3 times in 2025 in Top Alcohol. You might remember that a couple of years ago was where Tony Stewart got his drag racing feet wet before he jumped into the top fueler of his now wife, Leah Pruitt.
He ran some IHRA stuff last year, too.
There you go.
So I've got a feeling this will be the car that the cars that you see from NHRA that does dip down and run an event or 2 or a handful in IHRA.
Kids from Northport, Alabama. If he gets the opportunity, it wouldn't surprise me that he'd want to race close to home.
If that car, when IHRA rolls into Montgomery next year, if that car's not in Montgomery, I'll be surprised.
I would be shocked as well. All right, speaking of the IHRA, since we got time, came across this on motorsport.com in that they had the chance to talk to not just one, but 2 different executives from the IHRA. And we've talked about this. Again, we've just talked about the number of acquisitions just in the 2025 calendar year that the IHRA made. And we've been kind of wondering, ultimately, what's the master plan? I mean, yes, you're grabbing a whole bunch of tracks, but are you just grabbing tracks to grab tracks? Not according to the 2 IHRA executives, Scott Woodruff and Tim Horton. They talked to motorsport.com this week. Woodruff, who claims not to have actually a specific title, just kind of a right-hand man, I guess, if you want to put it that way, to Darrell Cuttle, talked about wanting to make racing fun again. Okay. For more than 20 years, he worked at Jegs Performance as a brand and media manager, and he said with the ultimate goal of being fun again, Darrell Cuttle's accumulating the equivalent of Infinity Stones from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, trying to create a worldwide network, or at least a nationwide network, of varying styles of racing. Woodruff then added, quote, "For a lot of endeavors like this, funding is the big issue. Funding is not our issue. It's got to be the right people in the right place. Right now, we're in the middle of a big 2-day planning session, and the questions we get to ask ourselves is, what would we want as fans, or what would we want as competitors or as partners?
There's an awfully large line that was in that paragraph right there that you just read off that consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words.
Mm-hmm.
Funding is not our issue.
Mm-hmm. We've detailed this. Darrell Cuttle works very closely with Elon Musk and all of Elon Musk's companies, SpaceX, Tesla, and so on. Trust me, funding is not an issue. Tim Horton, who is the IHRA's Stock Car Series race director, them chimed in. This was on Thursday, by the way, when this interview dropped. Quote, he, Darrell Cuttle, purchased 7 or 8 drag strips now, repurposed them, made deep investments into the infrastructure of the sport. This is his passion. He views it as a chance to establish a legacy. He's done really well with his businesses, and this is his idea of fun. He owns several drag cars, power boats. He loves motorsports. Woodruff admitted that he was, when approached by Cuttle, skeptical at first, but now he's a true believer and noted, quote, it is an investment. That's what it is. If you look back and you say, here's this guy spending in areas that nobody really wants to spend on, facilities, infrastructure purchase, nobody wants to do that, but we've got somebody who sees the power in that. Sees the number of tracks with a pedigree and a history, and they're going away. So let's get back in, re-energize them. And Woodruff added that Cuttle says, quote, let's plug the battery back in and get it recharged. We're building the infrastructure so we can go race. Let's go exceed people's expectations, whether it's on the track or off the track. That's what our goal is. Now, I would say probably if I were going to correct him in one aspect, it would be this, because they're looking at it from the fan side, but they're also looking at it from the competitor and the partnership side. So he's looking at it from the right angle.
Oh, yeah.
Or angles.
Yeah.
Because you got to look at it from the fan aspect. If the show's not good, the fans aren't going to come. On the other hand, if the racing isn't fair, the racers don't want to go. And if the racing ain't fair, you're not going to get sponsorship partners. So they are looking at it from the right aspects. How do we make this appeal to the fans? How do we make it appeal to the racers? And how do we make it appeal to our sponsors or potential partners? That's the good news.
Mm-hmm.
But let me reread that last sentence that I gave you. Let's go exceed people's expectations, whether it's on the track or off the track. Now, what you now need to realize is you need to exceed people's expectations both on and off the track. Not or, and. Because you are facing an uphill battle here. Again, the NHRA is the established one. You guys are trying, and you're doing a nice job, by the way, of beating down the door, but you still got a lot of work to do because you're still the underdog in this situation. And at this point in time, you're not the perfect underdog like it appears the Indiana Hoosiers are. You're still battling, and it's a very, very steep uphill.
Yeah, they're not the perfect underdog. But if them and the NHRA are racing uphill, and they both, I'm going to compare it this way, and people may go, huh?
Okay.
Both of these trains that are going uphill are dual locomotive trains.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
NHRA, let me back. All right. They're dual locomotive trains. Both of them have 10 cars each that they're pulling uphill, straight uphill. NHRA is pulling, I'm going to say it, 30 knots. IHRA is pulling it 60 knots. They haven't caught them, but they're catching them.
I can agree with that.
They haven't caught them, but they're catching them. Funding is clearly not their issue, because after I saw that charitable donation that they made to St. Jude's this week from IHRA,
which, by the way, very generous and really cool.
$10 million donation.
Yeah, very generous, very cool.
Extremely and very cool indeed for an outstanding cause.
Absolutely.
Funding is clearly not an issue.
Mm-mm.
It's going to reveal itself eventually. he's going to make a large purchase and buy something that somebody least expects him to buy. And he's going to say, here I am.
Well, and here's the thing. Again, you look at the two of the most recent purchases that he made. It was not on my bingo card for him to buy Maple Grove Raceway in Pennsylvania.
And it sure wasn't on mine for him to buy Rockingham.
And Rockingham is the other. You know, and of all things, I think if you had said Rockingham, I would have thought he would have bought Rockingham Dragway. No, he went and bought the oval track.
And I'll reveal this here. I had a little bird chirp that at me 3 days before it happened, that it was coming. I will not reveal who it was.
Mm-hmm. Just doesn't
that
need
will
to be.
stay under my hat.
Yeah.
But it was chirped at me 3 days ahead of time that it was coming.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. But you want to talk about something that was really unexpected. Again, I put Daryl Cuttle and Rockingham together. I automatically thought I would have thought the Dragway. I would not have thought the oval track at all.
Got an idea right here before we go to this break.
Okay.
I will put it out here right now. And if somebody from IHRA is listening, send this message to Daryl Cuttle right now.
Yeah, we're fans. Let's go.
Go to I-65 from here.
Mm-hmm.
Go to if you're here, I-65 North. I think it's exit. I think it's in the 60s, maybe 70s, somewhere in there. You hang a right. That little place that sets off behind Geodis Park, known as Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Buy it outright.
Yeah, please.
Buy it outright.
Please do that.
Do it.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Good night, that'd be perfect. And shut up all those people who are sitting there complaining about the fact that they bought a house in a neighborhood where a racetrack already existed.
I can't turn my TV up past 10. Well, first off, if you got a TV that can't get past 10, you got a problem.
Yeah. And number two, you're the one that moved into a neighborhood with an existing racetrack that was operating. That's on you. We'll turn our attention to IndyCar right after this.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network. 2 tires only, and back out to the track for more action on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back in here as we are rolling through hour number 2. Going to turn our attention to IndyCar, but first things first. Cool or cold is kind of a state of mind, because what I feel like might be cold might be a great temperature for you or for Matt, for example. Well, let me go back 5+ years now, when Matt and I had the opportunity to go to South Florida, and we were doing PA for the final, at that point in time, we thought, championship race at Homestead, Miami.
Yeah, I remember this. I know where this is going.
I got off the plane that Thursday and got the rental car, and it was just as hot and humid as you would expect South Florida to be. And that night, went and got Matt. The next morning, we're on our way down to the track, got a local radio station on, and the weather forecast comes across as, ladies and gentlemen, might want to break out your jackets. Low's going to get down to about 60.
And beware of iguanas falling out of the trees. From the local ABC affiliate in Miami that had it on that radio station.
Yeah.
Huh?
So Matt and I looked at each other and immediately started laughing, because the rest of the time, the rental car, which Homestead got us a very nice rental car. It had a sunroof, and power windows and the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And we were in the mid-60s, all 4 windows down and the sunroof open. We were loving it.
It was.
So again, cool. What might be cool to me might be perfect for you. What might be perfect for me might be too cool, too hot, whatever for you. It's just the way that it goes. All that to say this, it turned out to be a surprisingly cool for Phoenix mid-50s start to the morning, and it stayed that way throughout a cloud-covered day during the Firestone tire test that they held at Phoenix Raceway. But even through all that, apparently that did give Firestone enough information that they did approve the tire compound for IndyCar's return to the track for the first time since they raced there last in 2018. Firestone's director of race tire engineering, Kara Kristalik, said this, quote, "Other than being cold, it was a good test. We had to shorten it pretty significantly, but we got all the long runs that we were planning on getting done, so all of the important things that we needed to get, we accomplished. But the night before the test, we were looking at the weather forecast thinking, oh no, this is going to be a challenge. Looked like we were going to have rain starting at about 11 a.m., so we worked with the track. We moved the beginning hours a little bit earlier, so we got it started at 8. Then we got in what we needed to get in. Got in setup running, did a lot of full tank long runs. We were able to get the data that we needed to get ready for the open test. So this ought to be interesting here, because to me, this is a more interesting test than what they did on the IndyCar road course, where you're mixing Firestone and Goodyear rubber. I think this will be a bigger test for that than what Indy road course was.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that, because you're getting that mix again, but you're not. It's oval, the road course.
Yeah.
And that's going to throw them for a little bit bigger of a loop.
Be interesting to see how the track takes in the rubber from the Firestones and then the Goodyears. As for the drivers that were on hand for it, Will Power was there driving for his new team, Andretti Global. Team Penske's Joseph Newgarden also on hand to assist the official IndyCar tire provider. Did the drivers agree with Firestone? We'll start with Newgarden, who won that 2018 Phoenix race. He said, quote, "It was cold today, but still drivable, about 55 to 60 degrees. Again, cool, okay. But maybe not what we're going to see in March. Probably not. But definitely got through a lot of running to tick the boxes for Firestone, make sure that they understand what they want to bring back here. So, yeah, happy with that. Nice to just be back with the team. It's still somewhat in the early days, but it feels like the season's right around the corner, and in a lot of respects, it definitely is. As for Power, who we just showed you on CRN Live on YouTube, he paid a little bit less attention to the tires and more to the fact that he was with his first new IndyCar team since 2009 when he joined then Team Penske, or Penske Racing, now Team Penske. The two-time IndyCar champion said, quote, "It did feel like the first day of school, first day at a new team, learning people's names, not feeling completely comfortable because you don't know everyone yet, but it was a nice feeling not to have any sort of complacency or anything. You got to make sure you're on your game." As for the car, again, he didn't mention really the tires. He said this about the car, quote, "Car was good, nicely balanced, pretty uneventful, just got plenty of laps in, plenty to think about for when we come back." That would tell me probably that means good things for Firestone, because if you don't have anything bad to say, you just don't say anything.
Yep. That's the... They should be fine. I mean, temperature will probably be a little bit warmer.
I would think a little bit.
Should be a little bit warmer.
Maybe even as much as 10 to 15 degrees.
I'd say you're probably going to be looking about 70, 75 degrees.
Yeah.
Ish. It should be fine.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be a problem at all. I mean, if they've got no problem at the cooler temperatures where degradation of a tire is not really that big of an issue, then yeah, you're probably in pretty good shape when it gets warmer, and that probably becomes a little bit more of a factor.
Yeah.
Then there's Jacob Abel. He's a name that probably should be familiar to you if you pay attention to IndyCar. He has spent the better part of the last decade working his way up the IndyCar ladder. 9 years ago, started up that ladder, even got up into IndyCar, where last year he drove for Dale Coyne Racing. But he says he's putting that dream aside of being a full-time IndyCar racer, or at least on hold. He's accepted a ride with a group called NHRA for 5 races in the upcoming IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. Just after the 2025 IndyCar season ended, Abel went to Asia, teamed up with Vector Sport RLR in their LMP2 entry in the Asian Le Mans Series. He was a candidate for a GTD Pro full-time ride in 2026 in IMSA before he decided to run that part-time LMP2 entry with NHRA. It's right now slated to drive at Daytona, then Sebring, follow it up with Watkins Glen, Road America, and Road Atlanta. Says he hasn't closed the door on IndyCar. We've seen.
You have. You have.
We've seen Jacob Abel. Okay.
Lights out in Indy NXT.
Sure.
Lights out.
That's where his name became very apparent a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he drove for Dale Coyne Racing.
There's the kicker.
You know, I don't think that was a real. I don't think that was a real great show of his talent.
No.
The other part of this that really catches me, though, is that he doesn't have an IndyCar ride. He says he's only going to run a part-time slate, at least for now, with NHRA in the LMP2 division, the highest speed division of IMSA WeatherTech, which is great for him, and it's great seat time and wheel time for him. But if IndyCar is your dream, you go and you fight to get an IndyCar ride, and then you see where this kind of a schedule fits into your IndyCar schedule, and you do that as extra wheel time.
Yep, because there's no such thing. The most invaluable thing when you got a fire suit on is seat time.
Sure.
It's the most invaluable thing. But when you got Abel in that 51 car that in a lot of ways couldn't hit the broadside of a barn last year, then you had Renus VK that was overachieving in an underachieving ride.
Oh, yeah, that's easy to say.
That had to raise your eyebrow.
Yeah. And that may be part of the reason why Jacob Abel doesn't even have that ride anymore. So.
Could be.
I don't know. Get a seat where you can get it, I guess. Good luck to you, Jacob. By the way, being bullish on an event's future isn't anything new for a race promoter or president, but when we're talking about Bill Miller, things are a little bit different. This guy is the president of a race that hasn't even run once yet. It's the Grand Prix of Arlington. Why is he so big on a race that hasn't been run? Well, I got to admit, after looking at it, I would be too. Think about it this way. This race has the support of the city of Arlington, Texas, which, if you don't know where that is on a map, literally it's right in between Fort Worth and Dallas. It's got the support of the ownership of the Dallas Cowboys, you know, Jerry Jones, and the events partner for the Texas Rangers Major League Baseball team, Rev Entertainment. So that means basically both the NFL and Major League Baseball teams in the same area where the temporary street course is going to run are in support of this event.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good news. On the other hand, you look, say, at the place where Matt was just talking about not that long ago, Nashville. Think about the Music City Grand Prix for a moment. The first couple of years, it ran through an area of downtown Nashville that included a portion of Nissan Stadium, the home of the NFL's Tennessee Titans. But when they decided to build a new Titans stadium, they didn't try to figure out all that long a new downtown street course. Instead, they said, yeah, we're going to move you about 30 miles to the east of us here at Lebanon, and we're going to have you run that race over at Nashville Superspeedway. Now, we've been to that, one of the races, not last year, but 2024. Mm-hmm. And the racing was, I got to admit, racing was better than what I anticipated at the initial part.
Yeah.
Because IndyCar on an oval track could be great or it could be a disaster. It could be Formula One, follow the leader. But it turned out it wasn't. It was actually quite good racing. But again, you were kind of thrown into that because Nashville had other priorities. So IndyCar basically, like I said, was left homeless, which means to me, yeah, Nashville supports it. Yeah. But this race in Arlington has major big name support.
I don't see that race going back to Nashville until Nissan Stadium, the old Nissan Stadium's on the ground.
Torn down, exactly. And we don't even know when the heck that's going to be. I mean, I don't think they're talking about opening the new stadium until, what, 2028?
27.
27, okay. So we got this year and, well, we got this season and basically next season at the very least. And then demolition has to happen and cleanup.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 2 years gone, definitely, probably 3. Which means the first probable year that we're going to get back to racing in the downtown course, 2029. That's not good.
Run it down Broadway. Run it in front of Bridgestone.
Absolutely.
Run it by Tootsie's. For all I care. Put the start finish line at Tootsie's.
It should be. Absolutely. I get it. Broadway is a big place and it's a tourist attraction and there's a lot of traffic that goes down there. But I'm sorry, you can't tell me that you can't close that off for the days that you're going to need to. Long Beach can do it. St. Petersburg can do it. Arlington, Texas is doing it.
I will end this theory right here. If Las Vegas can shut the strip down for 3 days,
even better example.
You can stop Broadway for a handful of days and run the downtown street course race, a true Grand Prix.
Yes. Come on, Nashville.
In the words of Vincent LaGuardia and Gambini, the defense rests.
There's a lot to like about Nashville. And then there's a lot that you look at Nashville and go, what the heck are you doing?
Yep.
Nashville Fairgrounds and the Music City Grand Prix are two of those things where you just go, what the heck are you doing?
Yep.
I felt a little bit like Buford T. Justice there, but I can't quote everything that he said in Smokey and the Bandit. All right. Finally, a little bit of good news here in the fact that this, and I'll admit, this did work great. Fox Sports has decided to double down on it again here in 2026. What am I talking about? Beginning the preseason ad blitz for their second year of IndyCar telecasts. There's a little bit of a hiccup, though. There's a fly in the ointment, if you want to put it that way. The first promos for the IndyCar season on Fox were supposed to run this weekend in the network's NFL Wildcard Weekend telecast, but I found out just this morning that Fox had to push the debut back a week. 4 ads are set to rotate in all whenever they finally air. The network stated they didn't want to rush things, and they delayed it a week to make sure that the final edits were exactly what they wanted. So what had been a good 3-week rollout blitz during high viewership for the network turns into a 2-week blitz. IndyCar was lifted up by Fox having the Super Bowl in 2025 as well, but that moves to NBC this year. You know, IndyCar's former home. 3 drivers that were featured last year in the promos, Alex Palou, Joseph Newgarden, and Pato O'Ward, they're all back, and they'll be joined by Will Power this year. All the promos were filmed in and around Los Angeles, which is the headquarters for Fox Sports, so that makes sense. But yeah, we're not going to get them until next week. They had a chance to do it during the divisional round, Carolina versus LA, and what was the San Francisco Philadelphia game. I don't know. They said they were only going to pull out the first one and then add the other 3 in later. I don't know what they saw in the editing that feel like didn't work, but I don't know. Kind of seems like a mistake to me. I would try and do that as early as possible. I mean, you think about the jump that they had last year because of the amount of support that Fox gave to IndyCar. And again, it's to the detriment of NASCAR, but to the credit of IndyCar, Fox has every single IndyCar race on the main network. And they did a great job of promoting it and blitzing the whole thing. And it showed up in the ratings. Mm-hmm. The ratings were good. One would think you'd want to do that again as much as possible, especially considering the fact that you don't have the Super Bowl this year like you did last year.
Right.
Which I think was a major aspect because that, at least on that platform, you were guaranteed to have that promo shown in front of 100 million people in the United States alone, which is obviously your main body of work, which is where you want the people to see it. And yes, the NFL's the king of all sports here in the United States of America, and you're going to get in front of a lot of eyes, but it ain't 100 million.
No.
And you know NBC ain't running no promos for IndyCar.
Nope.
Take our final break here. When we come back, we'll talk Formula One. And we're still finalizing things as we get closer and closer to the 2026 season, starting with practices, Barcelona, Catalunya circuit, and then, of course, they'll move on to the Middle East before they go down under to Australia to begin the year. They're settling that down. But here in the Southeast, we're getting a pretty neat attraction, which we're going to spend a lot of time talking about.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network. Go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
Yeah, we are for one final segment here for this Saturday, January the 10th. And we teased it kind of like Cadillac did last weekend on the big show. We confirmed it on Cross Flags, but in case you missed it, why we don't know, we told you already. Subscribe to CRN Live on YouTube, and you get the podcast as well. Cadillac has indeed confirmed their reserve driver for the year, Zhou Guanyu. Not a bad choice. We talked about it last week as it was rumored to be him, and there were a whole lot of hints in that Cadillac tease that kind of led you to him. Zhou Guanyu is a solid, credible reserve driver for your main drivers. If they end up having to miss a race for whatever purpose, he's a good, solid kid. Is he going to go out and grab you a win? Yeah, probably not. But is he going to go out there and crack up the car on lap number one? No. Also, probably not.
Yeah, he'll take care of whatever needs to be taken care of.
So, yeah.
If he has to go.
Good call by the folks on the part of Cadillac as they're kind of playing the waiting game on the Colton Herta situation. Meanwhile, one of Cadillac's main drivers is Sergio Perez, Checo, in other words, as he is known as. He's now firing some shots at his former Red Bull teammate, four-time champion Max Verstappen. Or is it more a shot at Red Bull itself? I'll let you figure it out. Perez has said that the worst job there is in Formula One is being Max Verstappen's teammate. He ought to know. Again, he was in that position for 4 years before the team dropped him after the 2024 season, even though he had 2 years remaining on his contract. Perez sat last year out, but makes a comeback with the aforementioned Cadillac F1 team. But he reflected back on his time with Red Bull and said this, quote, "I was on the best team, but it was complicated because being Max's teammate at Red Bull is the worst job there is in F1. I knew what I was up against." Being interviewed on a podcast that was posted up last weekend, he continued, quote, "At Red Bull, everything was a problem. If I was faster than Max, it was a problem. Very tense atmosphere was created. It was a problem if you were faster than Max. If you were too slow and Max was slow, then everything was a problem." Why am I not surprised by that?
That's a culture issue. That starts at the top.
Yeah. If everything circulates around the one driver and the other driver is your B team guy, no matter how talented they might be, that's a problem.
Yep. It is.
Welcome to Red Bull.
Yep.
Hopefully he can, well, I'm not even going to say hopefully. Now that he knows what to recognize, if he starts to see that developing at Cadillac, he, I believe, has more than enough clout to be able to say, "Hey, listen, you're going down the wrong road."
Oh yeah, but I don't think you'll have that problem with Bottas.
I don't think so, but at the same point in time, just going on the if, and Valtteri Bottas is the same way. He's been with really, really good teams. He's been with some not really good teams. And if they start seeing trends that lead into the areas where this is a problem, they both should easily have the clout and the ear of Cadillac management to go, "Hey, here's your problem."
Should. They should. No doubt.
And that's why Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez make for a fantastic first-year duo for Cadillac. I think it's a great move on their part.
Yeah.
We noted last week 3 teams had not let it be known when their 2026 racers were going to be unveiled. 2 of those teams announced those dates this week. Williams first noted that they were going to take the cover off of their new racer on Tuesday, February the 3rd. Mercedes, right on their heels, announced they were going to unveil their car on Thursday, January the 22nd, which leaves McLaren as the lone holdout to not let us know exactly when they were going to come out. And then there's Haas F1. Haas F1, remember we talked about this last week, and we even showed you the preliminary calendar of when all these teams were going to be racing. Haas F1, or the TGR Haas F1 team, if you want to put it that way, now that they are title sponsored by Toyota Gazoo Racing. They said they were going to show off their car on January the 23rd, but that, as it turned out, was the exact same date that Ferrari and Alpine were set to take the wraps off of theirs. So Haas F1 said, "You know what? We'd like to have a little bit more of a stage show our own." So they moved off the date. They actually moved it earlier. They didn't delay it, Fox Sports. They moved it up. They're going to show off their 2026 racer on January the 19th. All by themselves.
Good for them.
Good for them. All right. Since they were first announced, we've been talking about these, and we've been wondering if we were ever going to get a chance to see one up close. What are we talking about? We're talking about what's called the F1 Arcade. And this is something Formula One is working with, and they're starting to go worldwide. But they've really established a foothold in the United States. The first one that they opened up here in the U.S. was in Boston, Seaport District. Then they opened up in Washington, D.C. If you happen to be anywhere near Union Square, that's where it's located there. They got one in Philadelphia. It's on Chestnut Street. I'm looking at their website. I'm grabbing it right off of them. From Chestnut Street to Walnut Street in Denver, Colorado. And, of course, they've got one in Las Vegas. It's at the shops at Caesars Palace in downtown Vegas. But if you're living in the southeastern part of the country, you're kind of like, well, I'd have to go all the way to Washington as the closest one. Not really planning on going to Vegas anytime too soon. And even though I was born in Boston, I don't really have plans to go back there anytime real soon. So when am I going to get to go? How about opening one in Atlanta? They are. We didn't even know it was under construction. These locations offer racing experiences, adult beverages, dining, and a whole lot more. And Atlanta's the next location, the first in the Southeast. They're going to take reservations for a soft opening. They're calling it on the 15th. Literally this coming week. Racing experiences include 2 screens, one for the driver and then a second elevated one that will allow guests or their friends to be able to watch as that person races. 5 skill levels ranging from rookie up to elite. Matt will go over some of those here in a minute because he went through some of the details on those. Each of these from rookie, where you get full driver assist, all the way up to the elite level, which basically has no assists at all. They say made for ages 7 and older. The official opening is slated for February the 6th. The doors will open at 5 o'clock that evening. First 100 people inside going to get Founders Club cards, which will offer lifetime benefits like exclusive perks and experiences and half off all food for the first 3 months. This one's a pretty large one, too. It's going to be 15,500 square feet, 68 state-of-the-art full-motion racing simulators, top-of-the-line sound systems, an outdoor patio that they say will open up when the weather warms up in the spring. As for the race sims, they're powered via Motorsport Games' R-Factor 2 racing sim platform, developed in collaboration between F1 and Studio 397. Guests can race solo. They can go head-to-head with one another or race in teams. Matt will go over that, too. Race day watch parties for F1 races will also be hosted. That means they're going to have to open up pretty early on some mornings. Food, drink specials are going to come along with that. It'll still allow the chance for some sim racing as well. The Atlanta location is located on a place called the Interlock on Howell Mill Road in downtown Atlanta. It's just north of the downtown Interstate Exchange at a location, again, called the Interlock. If you'd like to find out more information, check it out at f1arcade.com/us/Atlanta. You can also follow the location on social media. So we've been looking a couple of pictures there. And this is the Atlanta location that John had up on CRN Live on YouTube, that at least the finished parts of it, before they get into opening it up. It looks like it's going to be a really, really cool place to go. But you started checking out some of the racing there. I mean, just look at that. Perfect place. You're talking about a fully stocked bar. I know, kids, sorry, not for you. But fully stocked bar. They're talking about working with some really, really world-class chefs here in the United States of America to work up a really nice menu, kind of somewhat centered around Atlanta as well. So apparently each of the menus have a little bit of taste of where the city that they're in, which is cool. Mm-hmm. But again, the real attraction for somebody like you and me, and we would presume the vast majority of our audience who are racing fans, would be, hey, I can get a racing simulator. So you started looking it up. I let you take the floor from here.
With the R-Factor 2 simulation platform, that's not a bad one.
It's not really iRacing, though.
No, the reason that iRacing, that you don't use the iRacing platform, because F1 and iRacing really could not get a deal struck up together to be able to run the baseline of all the cars.
Okay.
Because the only two, there's only three iRacing F1 cars on iRacing. The McLaren MP4 back from yesteryear. And then Mercedes has the W12 and the W13. They did not put the W14 on there. So I guess it's some type of a rift between iRacing and F1 to be able to get the cars on there. Okay. Because the teams. So here's the kicker to the Mercedes. The deal with Mercedes was you put the car on iRacing, but the scheme or nothing can be altered. You can't alter the scheme.
Okay. So
people would do F1 schemes on F2 cars, Indy NXT cars, the old school Indy cars that are on there. They would throw F1 schemes on there. You could throw them on the McLaren MP4, but you can't do it on the new Mercedes. So I think that's where that deal got nixed right there. But R-Factor, you're able to run the actual real-life schemes and the actual real cars. So I think that's where that came in at. But, I mean, with the they call them the race modes, you can run head-to-head with three people running in head-to-head races for 3 to 5 races. Or you can run in teams. If you have a group outing over there, you can run in teams of how many ever people you got. They'll break it into 5 teams of whatever, or how many ever. Mm-hmm. And then they got one upcoming called the Challenger mode, which will be more intense, it looks like to me. But in regards to the skill levels, like you said, from rookie, which has full assistance of the AI racing lines and AI assist with braking, clutch, stability control, steering and spin recovery, all the way up to elite, where you have basically nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be maybe not necessarily beating the doors down because it's probably going to be crowded for a little while.
I would think.
But I will definitely venture my way to Atlanta to try it out very soon.
Matt and I are already thinking about this, and if we could convince producer John to come down, maybe it's a threesome. And I got a buddy of mine who talked about this last night when we were at Music Trivia, which I host every Friday night. I know, self-serving from him. He's interested as well. So this might be a situation where maybe after we get done with a show one Saturday, we slide on over to Atlanta.
I'm not going to complain about that. You're not going to hear me argue.
I have been curious about these since they started up. And this is, you get the curiosities, you remember the Planet Hollywoods and the Hard Rock Cafes. By the way, the Hard Rock Cafe is still there in Atlanta. I'm surprised. I kind of thought most of those went out of business. I think the Planet Hollywood has died. But, I remember those two. I remember ESPN
Zone, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, ESPN Zone. I couldn't remember the name of it. And I've been to the one in Atlanta. I'd been to the one in downtown Baltimore before they closed. Those were actually nicer places to me than Planet Hollywood or Hard Rock Cafe. The food was better, too.
I went to the one in Orlando.
Yeah, the food was better to me, too, at ESPN Zone. So I was kind of sad to see them go. This kind of reminds me of that. This does seem to be an upper level, higher. We haven't seen the prices yet. We don't know what the food and the drinks are going to cost. But I would imagine it's probably not the cheapest thing on the planet. But at the same point in time, I am really curious about this. I do want to check it out. This, to me, looks like it would be a fun time.
Give me a glass of water and let me go to a simulator and sit down.
That's the most important part. I can care less about everything else.
I'm interested to see how these simulators are set up compared to other simulators that I've driven on the iRacing platform. I'm interested to see how they're set up and how their technique is.
Yeah. And, you can watch some of the video, and yes, there's motion to it. And, myself, producer John, you, I believe, are as well. You remember the old NASCAR Silicon Motor Speedway.
Oh, yeah.
Which was in a lot of malls. And John and I worked in the one in Birmingham for a while.
I absolutely dominated that one in Birmingham.
And I don't think that it's got quite the range of motion that those do, because those raised way up. These look like they have a little bit of motion, but as far as how much movement, you're not really going to get a whole lot of.
If any motion, it's going to be the seat, because most F1 tracks are flat anyway.
Yeah, so you're going to get a feeling in the seat just enough to kind of get a little bit of a feeling of the G-force. You're not going to get the whole tilting to the side, at a weird angle.
I'm saying it right now. First three tracks: Monza, Zandvoort, Coda.
Yeah,
Monza, Zandvoort, Coda.
Yeah, I like it. Can't wait. Again, reservations start to be taken on the 15th and the 6th. February the 6th is Friday night, is when they're going to open. Friday night in Atlanta, that place is going to be packed. Again, Atlanta's a lot like Birmingham in this way, and I'm not trying to denigrate Birmingham or the Southeast or anything like this. The southeastern part of the United States is generally like this. You get a new thing, even if it's something you're familiar with, it gets packed for the first week and a half. 2 weeks, month, maybe, depending on how good it is.
True.
And you get something that's a total unknown, but has the attraction of something like this. Yeah, this place is going to be packed.
Oh, yeah.
Jam-packed.
It will.
Then we finally turn our attention over to the fine folks over at Formula E here as they get ready to run shortly after we get done with the show here. And he has 3 years of experience in the series, but he was sitting idle, had no ride, had no prospects, no big prospects anyway. And finally, Mahindra came in with something of a lifeline. Jake Hughes, who raced 2 years with McLaren before they left the series, then he latched on with Maserati before they let him go. And in those 3 years, claimed 2 podium finishes, even though he didn't have a win. He did set the series' fastest speed recorded, punched his ride to 135.9 miles per hour during a lap at London's Excel course in his first year. Now he joins Mahindra. He is their official reserve and simulator driver. He's the last one, by the way, to be noted as that, even though they already raced a race this season. It is interesting to note that they didn't finally announce it until they got into the year. I wonder if it was the weird quirk in the contract that wouldn't allow them to announce it, maybe?
Probably.
As far as Hughes, he talked about the opportunity, said, quote, "I'm excited to begin this next chapter in my career with Mahindra. What they've built over the past few seasons is very impressive. Clear that the team is really on a positive trajectory. I'm looking forward to playing my part in helping this team move on, which is one of the championship's iconic names, and get them back towards the front of the grid." And they've had a pretty down couple of years, so we'll have to see whether or not he's able to help them out or not.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they, I guess they've already qualified, truth be told. We didn't look it up.
Yep, I didn't check it.
But
they
yeah,
probably already have.
They race starting this afternoon. Again, if you can find it, best bet, probably go to Roku channel and look up CBS Sports there, because trying to find it on the CBS Sports cable network regularly and just the basic lineups as I've gone to look at them, I have a hard time finding Formula E on the CBS Sports regular TV schedule. So
Yep.
I've kind of given up, just to be real honest. But since we cover the series on a regular basis, I do my due diligence. We'll talk NASCAR scheduling and how they're going to do the championship on the Cross Flags podcast. Make sure you join us this week.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.